All right, now let's take a look at our slide animation one more time. Note that when I click on an item, it slides to the left at a constant speed. See one more time. It moves with a constant speed. But in real life, objects don't move at a constant speed. For example, when you drop a ball from top of a building, the speed of this ball increases gradually. Or when you're driving your car and push the brake, the speed of your car decreases gradually. So in real life, objects don't move at a constant speed. Now, let me show you how to make this animation more interesting. So back to our slide animation. Let's take a look at this leave transition. So as the first argument to this animate function, we passed a number which is used for timing the animation. If you want to have more control over this timing, we should use a string. So let's put this in a string. This string has 3 components. The first component is the duration, and it's required. So here we can specify 500 milliseconds or half a second, whatever style you prefer. Now the second component, which is optional, is the delay. So let's say I want to delay this animation by 1 second. Let's look at the result. So now when I click on an item, there's a 1 second delay, and then our animation starts. And finally, the third component of this string is the easing. Easing is basically a function that determines the speed of animation over time. In CSS, we have a few standard easings. The first one is linear, and this means our animation moves with the same speed. And this is very boring, as you saw in the demo earlier. The second one is ease in, and this means the animation starts slowly but ends fast. The opposite of ease in is ease out. So it starts fast and ends slowly. And we also have ease in out, which is the combination of ease in and ease out. So it starts slowly, then it speeds up, and finally it ends slowly. So these are the standard easings that are defined in CSS. If you want to implement a custom easing, you need to use the cubic Bezier function. So this is basically a function that determines the shape of this curve. So we pass 4 numbers here, and these numbers determine the shape of our easing curve. Now don't worry, you don't have to magically throw numbers here. There is a tool that helps you design a curve, and then you will get the cubic Bezier function. So if you head over to cubic-bezier.com, you can see this tool here. So you can design your own curve, whatever you prefer. And then you can see the corresponding numbers here. You can also preview the impact of this curve on an animation. So for a 1 second animation, this red box is my custom curve. And here I'm comparing this with another curve. Below that, you can see different curves. Let's say we want to compare our custom curve with linear. Now, let's click go. See the difference? The blue box moves at a constant speed. In my opinion, the movement of the red box is more interesting. Okay, so here's my pragmatic tip for you. We use the ease in function to move things out of the screen. So note the opposite words, in and out. Because when we want to move something out of the screen, we want it to look like a car that is accelerating. So it starts to move slowly, and then we want that kind of effect. Okay, so in and out, the opposite words. And similarly, we use the ease out function to move something inside the view. Now back to our animate function. As the third component of this timing string, I want to add an easing. Because we're moving this element out of the screen, I'm going to use the ease in function. Also, we don't really need a delay, so let's delete this. Back in the browser, click. This animation is more interesting in my opinion. Now finally, before we finish this lecture, let me show you how to use the cubic Bezier function. So back to cubic-bezier.com, We have this function cubic-Bezier with these numbers. We can use this function where we add the easing. So back in our animate function, I'm going to replace easing with cubic-Bezier and pass those magic numbers here. Okay, here are the numbers. Now let's test the application. Back in the browser, click, and that's our cubic-Bezier function.